Greetings! My name is Captain Tyler, and I've been sent out into space in search of a new home. My brother and I have been searching the universe for at least a year now, and unfortunately, our search has proven unsuccessful. But would you look at the time, it's just about for us to tune out for the night. We're gonna shut the lights off and continue our search in the morning. We'll get back to my search later. Anywho, for now, to many people, the GameCube was a time of wonderful memories. Even though it wasn't as successful as other Nintendo consoles, it definitely has its loyal fans.
Now, I grew up in the Wii era, so I don't have a whole lot of nostalgia for the GameCube.
Even if it's not my favorite, I definitely acknowledge what it does well, and most importantly, that's its game library. Mario Kart Double Dash is considered one of the best Mario Karts in the series. Super Smash Bros. Melee is still played competitively, which is still baffling to me. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker is a fan favorite that I personally really enjoy. Luigi's Mansion gave Luigi the spotlight and showed off what the GameCube could do. Super Mario Sunshine made me sad. But here in North America, we were introduced to the Animal Crossing franchise on the GameCube. But amongst all that, Nintendo dropped a game called Pikmin.
Now, Pikmin isn't a series I got to play until...
At the Nintendo Space World Trade Show in the year 2000, Nintendo showed off a tech demo that went by the name of Super Mario 128. It was a small presentation that showed off 128 Marios running around in different terrain, showing off new physics, but most importantly, rapid object generation. This was eventually transferred over to a new series Nintendo was working on, Pikmin, which then released later in 2001 for the Nintendo GameCube.
I can remember it like it was yesterday.
Okay, maybe I wasn't alive for Pikmin's release, but I did own a GameCube pretty early in my life, so I at least could have gone back and played. So, for the release of Pikmin 4, Nintendo ported Pikmin 1 and 2 to the Nintendo Switch, and until then, I had never played Pikmin 1 or 2. I played 3, but that was on... But hey, Pikmin 3 might have been my first one, but that doesn't mean it's gonna affect my experience with the other ones. So, Pikmin. This is a game that follows the adventures of Captain Olimar from the planet Hokotate. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but you know what. Anyway, while traveling through space, Olimar is struck by a massive meteor and sent plummeting towards an unknown planet. Unfortunately for Olimar, 30 pieces of his ship, the SS Dolphin, a quick reference to the GameCube's prototype name, Project Dolphin, had been scattered across the planet, and somehow he has to get them back so he can fly home to his family. Sadly, the planet Olimar has landed on has highly dangerous levels of poison oxygen, so he must stay on his life support system. Once again, unfortunately for our poor captain, his life support system is only active for 30 days until it shuts down. So you better get moving and fix his ship fast. Fortunately for Olimar, finally, he runs into the near-extinct creature called Pikmin. Pikmin are little creatures with stems sticking out of their heads, and on that stem is either a leaf, a bud, or a flower, but we'll get to that. Olimar quickly learns he can tame these little guys with the whistle built into his suit, so he does just that. With the Pikmin on his team, Captain Olimar sets off to repopulate the Pikmin and repair his ship. Once you finally jump past the unskippable long text this game has to offer, you finally get to see what Pikmin is all about.
Welcome to my garage. My name is Dr. Tyler, and today we're talking about those. Now, I bet you're wondering, what is that? That is a Pikmin. Now, here's the thing about Pikmin. No matter how hard I try, it's going to be near impossible to explain this to you, because take one look at this bad boy and you think, to the average person, they're just going to think, what on earth is this? And I can't blame them. Pikmin is one of those things that's near impossible to explain. You kind of have to do it to understand it, kind of like rugby. Does that mean I have played and understand rugby?
But you're gonna have to trust me on this. To the average eye, the gameplay of Pikmin makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It looks weird, it sounds weird, it plays weird, but as soon as you start playing it, it's gonna make all the sense in the world. I swear, you just gotta believe me.
But no matter how hard Pikmin is, I'm gonna do my absolute best to explain it to you.
This little guy is a Pikmin. He's your friend, and he's your only ticket out of here. You can throw him at things which he will either attack or carry. If you pick up one of these little capsules with a number on them, the Pikmin will bring it back to their little home, the onion, and it will reproduce and make more Pikmin, which you then pull out of the ground. The bigger your group of Pikmin, the bigger group of enemies you can take down. Eventually, you'll find parts to your ship or treasures that the Pikmin will carry back to your ship, but you need at least 10 or more to grab certain items. It really depends on the size of the item. Again, I swear it sounds complicated, but it's really not. Pikmin is a real-time action strategy game where you use their help to get you home, and while I will say it might be an acquired taste, I swear it's worth the effort. I swear.
Now that I'm done attempting to explain Pikmin, bring the camera in close. I want to give you a real heart-to-heart. I've got a secret I gotta tell just you. I think Pikmin is a very good game.
This game is just full of little charm and fun, neat details, like every time you get a piece to your ship, Olimar will describe to you his past with that item. That combined with the fun gameplay makes Pikmin a really charming and enjoyable simple experience. It also shows off and explains mechanics really well. For example, one of the most important parts of Pikmin is each little guy can do something different. Like the red ones can withstand fire, the blue ones can survive in water, and the yellow ones are lighter than the other ones, so you can throw them higher. And to go with that, each Pikmin starts with a little leaf on their head, but if given nectar, they will be more powerful and can eventually grow into a flower and be really powerful.
Now, I'm sure you realize, instead of reviewing Pikmin, I'm actually still attempting to explain it to you. And I am doing an awful job at it.
Pikmin 1 is a wonderful start to the series. Even though honestly you could play any Pikmin game and you'll be good to go, they all stand on their own, but Pikmin 1, there isn't a whole lot to say about it because it's seriously just a fun start to the series. And I apologize if I did not explain it well enough. I'm seriously trying my best, but anyway, if you get the good ending to Pikmin 1, Captain Olimar flies home, and that brings us directly to the start of Pikmin 2. As soon as Captain Olimar flies home to what you'd hope to be his family, he's instead greeted by his boss and Louie, who have the audacity to tell him that while he was out struggling for his life, their business went under. Upon meeting up, their business's little treasure device that shows how much they're in debt takes the gift that Olimar brought back for his kid and uses it to pay off their debt. Just a tiny amount because their debt is massive. But fortunately for Olimar, the treasures that he found on the planet are worth a lot of money on his home planet. So his boss sends him and Louie back to the planet to collect treasures to get their company out of debt. So essentially, gameplay-wise, there's really only one big thing here. You're not alone anymore. Now you have the help of Louie.
Whether you call him help or not is up to you.
So Pikmin 2 adds multiple things to the scene here. In Pikmin 1, it was your goal to search the lands on the hunt for pieces of your spaceship. Well, now you're looking for treasure and you can hunt above and below ground. Now, treasure hunting does the job, sure, but I prefer the 30 days to live Pikmin. It added a fear of, I can die if I run out of time, which is handled extremely well in the first one. But now that we have as many days as it takes to get out of debt, it's like, man, I don't want to spend my free time playing a game where I had to pay debts.
That is literally what I do every day. I just dropped $60 on Pikmin 4, which means I'm $60 below zero. Why would I want to play a game about repaying that debt when I do that every day?
In the end, paying off your debt works, but it's far from as engaging as the threat of running out of life support in Pikmin 1. But as I said before, this time you have Louie around, which helps with a key part of Pikmin. Multitasking. Having two captains over one really helps you get things done, and this is a universal rule for Pikmin, but multitasking is the right way to play Pikmin. You're going to want to have your Pikmin running all over the map, going left and right, doing as much tasks as possible, and having an extra guy that you can swap between is a really good way to help with that. I mean, like, overall, Pikmin 2 is the same gameplay as Pikmin 1. You still throw Pikmin to do things and search for objects. There's just a couple things that are a tad different.
For the worse.
Again, it's nothing with the core mechanics. Deep down, this is still a Pikmin game. It's all about the environment around you that I have issues with. Mainly, it's confusing. Like Pikmin 1, I still felt like I was exploring. I felt free, but I also felt like I was making progress. In Pikmin 2, on the other hand, I got to the second search location and I saw the blue Pikmin, but I couldn't reach them due to an electrical fence, and since I know a thing or two about Pikmin, I thought to myself, oh, well, electrical fence, I know what to do with that. I need a yellow Pikmin. Now you're speaking my language. So I searched and I searched and I searched for the yellow Pikmin, only to realize, maybe after I wasted 4 in-game days, they were at the next location that you unlock, which means I had to progress and then backtrack to get the blue ones.
Backtracking?
If you don't know this by now, backtracking in video games drives me insane, especially if I feel like I'm making no progress. But on the plus side, Pikmin 2 is home to 2 new Pikmin. The purple but extremely slow and strong Pikmin, and the white Pikmin which is really fast and can spray poisonous gas. Both are great additions, but be careful because you only have a limited amount of these. You have to find these guys, you can't just reproduce them with the onion. Then finally, we can't forget the caves. They're new to Pikmin 2, and they're okay at best. I don't like that time doesn't pass when you're in the caves, but I kinda get why it doesn't. Anyway, I never have the urge to stop what I'm doing and jump in a cave. It always feels like a chore to me, and I avoid it at all costs if I can. Overall, of the main series, I'm putting it out there right now, Pikmin 2 is definitely my least favorite. Which, it still technically has the same formula with a few changes, it's just those few changes kind of ruin it for me. Unfortunately, too, because I enjoyed Pikmin 1. But none of that matters now, because 9 years down the line, the third entry in the Pikmin series was released on the Nintendo Wii U. Right off the bat, this game wants you to know that some things are gonna be different. Their best way of showing that off is by giving us 3 new protagonists, Alf, Brittany, and Charlie. These 3 are from the planet Kopai, and unfortunately their planet has run out of food due to poor planning. So they set off to find more food to bring back home. On their search, they're met with disaster, and the planet PNF 404 once again takes 3 new castaways. Upon landing, they're split up, and you take control of Alf, the little blue guy on his quest to get enough food, his crew back, and get off that planet and go home. But you gotta be careful. Your short food supply has been lost in the crash, so you have to find food as you go. Well, I've never gotten to the point. I think if you run out of food rations, you have 3 days left to survive before the worst happens. But I like this mechanic. It gives you a sense of urgency, like Pikmin 1. You're no longer just treasure hunting, you're trying to stay alive and get home. I think Pikmin 3 not only sets up the game very well, but handles everything else better than both Pikmin 1 and 2. Tutorials aren't lengthy, interactions feel natural, you might be in danger, but you don't technically have a set amount of days to survive. But everything about Pikmin 3 feels like it's been handled very well. Puzzles feel natural, the caves are finally normal, and you can enter and leave whenever you please. And you're having the option to have 3 playable characters, not only playable, but throwable, which leaves room for a lot of puzzles. This game also introduces some new Pikmin. First off, the rock Pikmin. These little buddies can be thrown into stuff like crystals to shatter them, and they also deal more damage. And we also got winged Pikmin. They can fly around you, they can open gates, they can fly over water. While they can't be used in water, they can keep track of the player and fly just above the surface to reach the other side. I honestly don't have anything bad to say about Pikmin 3. It feels like the definitive Pikmin game to me. And it might be because it was my first Pikmin game, but I feel like story, gameplay, graphics, mechanics, locations, they all blend together really well in Pikmin 3. Well, as of July 21st, 2023, Pikmin 3 is no longer the final game in the series. Instead, we have the highly anticipated Pikmin 4. But before we get into that, there's two other things I have yet to talk about.
There comes a point with any successful franchise where we must take risks, expand the horizon, and grow the gaming experience. Spin-offs. Okay, I take back what I said.
So it was 2017, and not only had the Switch just been released, but Pikmin fans were getting restless. I mean, a new console, and word from Nintendo many years prior that a new Pikmin was in development. The stars were lining up. Well, alongside the release of a brand new Nintendo console, Nintendo announced a completely new Pikmin. The only problem was, it was for the 3DS, not the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, and don't forget, it's a 2D side-scroller now.
Okay, I'm all in for spin-offs, but Pikmin is one of those series where I really don't see that working. Like, yes, I love Pikmin, but I don't know, spin-offs just sound like a recipe for disaster.
But either way, I went out and bought it.
Hey Pikmin was the game. It was developed by a company in Japan known by Arzest. I'm probably mispronouncing that. But anywho, let's see what else they worked on. Oh no. Anywho, this game was released for the 3DS. It's a game where Captain Olimar once again crash lands on the same planet and gets stranded. And this time, the only way for him to get home is with Sparklium, a sparkly material found in everyday objects found around the planet. While on the surface, it sounds a lot like normal Pikmin, but it's not. This is a 2D puzzle side-scrolling platformer. No, scratch that. It's not a platformer. No, this kind of feels like Pikmin in 2D, but I don't know, moving around with one hand and using the stylus with the other one gets kind of uncomfortable, which may be just me, but I don't like it. But I will give credit where credit is due. The game lets you move left and right with the circle pad, the D-pad, and the A and B buttons, so whether you're left-handed or prefer a D-pad, you have options. Ultimately, the game has a rather simple premise.
But does it work?
Okay, so imagine Pikmin. Here we go again. Throw things at enemies, pick up items, and use them to get home. It just doesn't work in a 2D setting. It's like, there's an idea here.
The harder I look, the farther I stray from it.
When I first bought this game, I was a good 45 minutes from my house. Unfortunately, the GameStop employee neglected to put the cartridge in the box, so I went home with an empty game. I realized just as I pulled into my driveway that I didn't have the game.
I should have taken it as a sign and accepted defeat.
But nope, I packed my stuff back up, grabbed my receipt, and headed right back to the GameStop and got my cartridge. It's like, the game, it's cute, but man, is it boring. I think to make matters worse, this was my second Pikmin experience, so not great.
But it's okay, it was 2017 and Nintendo had already announced in 2015 that Pikmin 4 was in development, so surely it was going to release on the new Nintendo Switch system.
Well, that's not what I expected. Okay, so at the time of release of this, it's 2021, and Nintendo and Niantic just announced their next big mobile game.
Okay, so remember Pokemon Go? Of course you do, how could you forget? It was huge for about a year. And then due to lack of support and updates, it died pretty fast and pretty hard.
It's a simple premise, but lacking of content. I do know people who still play today, yes, but I have the opposite of motivation to open it. Anywho, I bet you're wondering, how does this relate to Pikmin? Well, what if we made a pretty similar game, but 5 years later? Pikmin Bloom! This is a glorified step counter.
And that's all I'm willing to say about it.
Okay, so forget Pikmin Bloom. Let's finally talk about... So, about 10 years after the release of Pikmin 3, we finally got the newest actual Pikmin game. Pikmin 4! I mean, heck, this thing was announced in 2015, but I can't really complain too much. But none of that matters because as of July 21st, 2023, it finally released. To prepare for this, I bought Pikmin 1 and 2 on my Switch and went back and replayed 3. So to say that I was prepared is an understatement. But anywho, immediately the game jumps you in as Captain Olimar, who sends out a signal to a rescue team, which is where you come into play. You are the newest member of the Rescue Corp on a mission to save Captain Olimar, and on your way you end up saving a ton of castaways too, who are also stuck on that planet. Unfortunately, there's no sense of urgency like with the life support in Pikmin 1 or running out of food in Pikmin 3, but I can't complain too much. The rescue team is a fun little cast of characters, so I don't know, it's neat. But anywho, let's get right into the gameplay. Deep down, the gameplay is still Pikmin, yes, but with a wrench thrown directly into the mix. This is Ochi, your little dog-like companion. Ochi's very loyal, he's cute, he's a great companion, but there's only one problem. He kinda ruins the core Pikmin gameplay. So, to get right into it, Ochi can carry all of your Pikmin on his back at once, which is a cool little feature and makes exploring a lot easier. But I don't really want easier. It kind of gets rid of some of the charm to classic Pikmin. In old Pikmin games, keeping your group together was a hassle, making sure they can keep up, like sometimes in classic Pikmin games, little Pikmin trailing you will fall over and you gotta go back and get them. I miss that. It adds a lively little charm to the game. And also to go with that, Ochi can swim, which means he can carry your Pikmin across the water, and I don't know, to me that makes water feel pointless. Yeah, sure, you still need the blue ones to go down into the water to collect certain objects, but being able to swim over the water gets rid of the puzzles and the fun of exploring the areas. And yes, the areas are still fun to explore, but it's a little less exciting because now you can just go anywhere without any issues and the Pikmin can follow you around. Like in old Pikmin games, if I wanted to go through the water, I had to bring only blue ones with me. Now I can take the entire squad because there's no danger with the water. It's just like, Ochi's cool, yes, but having him makes him feel like the Pikmin have been pushed aside. They feel like an afterthought in this game. Does that mean I didn't have fun? No, of course not. Deep down, it's still fun. It's just different, like in more ways than one. This game just feels too different to me. There aren't really boss battles. Like, sure, there are big enemies, but there's no huge threats. It makes the game very easy combined with no boss battles and Ochi being around. Also, they brought back the cave system from Pikmin 2, which wasn't really a win for me. I didn't like the caves then, and I don't like them now. Like, I think it distracts from the main expedition, mostly because when you're in a cave, the day timer stops. And there's already not enough challenge in this game anyway, let alone taking away the day timer because there's puzzles. Sure, there is a lot to do in this game, but kind of like Animal Crossing New Horizons, once you start doing it, the game feels more and more empty. And again, I swear that doesn't mean it's not fun. There's a lot of fun to be had here. Just comparing it to Pikmin 1 and 3, it's a completely different experience. Now, I definitely understand why Pikmin 4 is much easier when compared to other Pikmin games. The Nintendo Switch has reached insane sales numbers. There's no time better than the present to introduce players to new series. And certain series are reaching sales they've never reached before. Both Metroid and Animal Crossing. I mean, like, seriously. At the time of writing this, Animal Crossing New Horizons is the 11th best-selling game of all time, and it came out 3 years ago. It brought in a ton of new players, and I think what Nintendo was aiming for with the new Pikmin title is to do the same thing. So in the end, Pikmin 4 is a good enough time to keep longtime fans happy, but it's also a not so challenging intro for the series to bring in newcomers. While it may not be my favorite Pikmin experience, Pikmin 4 is still a wonderful and very enjoyable experience. And finally, to wrap everything up, the Pikmin series is a wonderful set of games that in the past it didn't meet Nintendo's expectations for it, but I think with Pikmin 4, it might just finally get the attention it deserves. Each game has something new to offer and you can have a great time with each one, but deep down, in my opinion, Pikmin 3 is the definitive Pikmin game. Not to say the rest are bad, just to say if you're looking for the best Pikmin experience, play Pikmin 3. Avoid the spin-offs though.